Hi boys and girls. Today I'm going to be painting these little penguins, okay? And I'm Rosemary, in case you don't know and haven't seen any of my videos before. You have the kits that you picked up at the library, and you should have your two brushes and the little pods with the paint inside of them, okay? And each of you got a different penguin because there's two in a set. So some of you got this one and some of you got this one. They're basically the same penguin, but his hat is different. And the scarf is in a little different position, but they're both cute, so it doesn't really matter. I just want to tell you that you can do whatever colors you want. You do not have to follow what I do, but I just want you to know not to do the black until last. The black makes a mess. It gets in the water. It gets all over the piece. It gets on your hands. So do black the last thing that you do. So we'll do the white first. I always like to work from the lightest color to the darkest color. So we'll do the white first, and you'll put the white on the trim of the hat. If you have this guy, you're going to do the pom-poms and his face and his belly. Okay? On this one, same thing. The trim of the hat, the pom-poms, and the belly. So take your smaller of the two brushes and paint the white and go around the scarf as much as possible. Put the paint on nice and smooth. I know a lot of you like to just scoop up the paint and put it on, but that will never let it dry. If your paint stays wet for any length of time, you're putting it on too heavy. So keep going back and pulling it out nice and smooth. Okay, get down that little side there, along the side of the scarf. And where the black is going to go, the black will cover everything, so you don't have to be as neat. You can get the white where the black is going to go. Okay? So prefer not to get it on the scarf, get it on the black area. Okay, so I have that done. And now I'm going to be doing his face, or her face. We don't know what they are, male or female. And on the face, you can go over where the eyes are going to go because the black will cover it. Try not to do the beak. No, I forgot to pull out a color for the beak, but I think I have some paints right in front of me here that I can grab one. Nice and smooth. Again, don't glob your colors on, and if you do, make sure that you pull it out until it's almost dry. You see this that I did? This is dry already. And even though the piece is white, you still have to paint it. It gives you a nicer white. It's a whiter white. Your bisque, this is called ceramic bisque, and it looks yellow as compared to the white paint when you put it on. Okay, so I have the white on there, and then I'm going to do the white on the trim of the hat. And on this one, he does have a pom-pom. He has the pom-pom on the side, so we have to do that one also. The one has two pom-poms, the other one has one pom-pom. Nice and smooth. I'm going to be putting glitter on top of that. I gave you glitter. And again, you don't worry if it's going to go where the black is going to go, because black eventually will cover it later on. You have to be more careful with the black. And do not put a lot of paint in your brush when you do the black. And do the black last. Do everything else first and do the black last. You see how I put this on? I just put a little paint in my brush and I pull it out as far as it'll go. Nice and smooth. I keep going back and smoothing it, and it's almost dry to the touch. If it stays wet, if it stays shiny, you're putting it on too heavy. Pull it out, pull it out, pull it out. And, you know, just put less is more. Just put a little dot of paint in your brush when you begin. You can always add more to it. But it's harder to take it away if you have too much paint on your brush and you don't have a big area to put it in. Like when you're doing this little pom-pom. If you have too much paint in your brush, there's nowhere to spread it. So just a little bit of paint goes a long way. And sometimes I do 2 coats on the white because I think it gives it a little better coverage, so you can do that. Go back. If you're seeing some yellow through it, just go back and put a 2nd coat on like I'm doing here now. Okay. All right, I'm going to see, just excuse me 1 second, I'm going to see if I can get some of the color for the beak. I have a yellow here. Well, we should really be using an orange, right? Oh, here's an orange, okay. So I have an orange here. And I'm gonna wash the brush out, and when you wash your brush, I tell you every time, swoosh, don't bang. Swoosh, and you'll keep a nice round point on that brush. I've been using this brush for a lot of videos, and I still have a point on it. Okay, same thing when you dry it. Don't smash it, roll it to a nice point. So now I'm gonna be doing the beak and the feet. Do that in the orange. You probably have a little different orange that I gave you. I put so many kits together, I really can't remember what colors I put in them. And of course, I didn't write this one down, and I should have. Start in the middle of the beak and then work your way to the edge when there's less in your brush, so you don't have a big blob going out onto the rest of his face. If you go out of the lines, let it dry. Don't try to touch up while the color is wet, or you will have a third color. And over here, you don't have to be neat because the black will cover it, so get that orange up onto his body a little bit, it's okay. The black will cover it. And you should always do the bottoms. I'm not doing it now, but I always do the bottom of pieces. Piece is not really completely finished until the bottom is done. And you can be as creative as you want with this. You don't have to make them look exactly like a penguin. If you wanted to do different colors and make his body in red and or green, I mean, that's up to you. Art is up to you. You're the artist, and you can change it however you want. I mean, traditional penguin is black and white, but he doesn't wear a scarf and he doesn't wear a hat like this, so it's cutesy anyway, so you can do whatever you want with it. Okay. Okay, again, swish that brush in the water, roll it to a nice point, and I'll cover this one up and put this one back. All right, so I'm going to do a blue hat and scarf this time. So you have other colors, and you can choose whatever colors that you would like. I have this dark blue. And when I start painting, I start in the center of the area, not up against, right up against the white, and then I start away from it, and then I work my way into it to see how much paint I have in the brush, and then I go with a fine line right across. All right, and I try to get that fine line and then smooth it out. Start in the middle. You see what I'm doing? I start like in the middle area, not right on the edge. And when I have less in my brush, I go to my edge and try to get a nice fine edge. And then smooth it out. And now this is where you have to start being careful because the black is not up in this area at all. So you have to be a little more careful here. Put the color down and try to, with a nice little felt swoop, do your edges. So I do the middle here. Nice and smooth so it dries. Pull it out. And then when there's less in the brush, try to scoop across the edge there. And you should always brace your hand. I'm kind of working up in the air, but you should always brace your hand, brace your arm. You're more shaky when your arm is not braced on the table. And some people work like this with their pinky on the piece to brace it, but it stops you from shaking when you're painting. It's hard to paint when you're up in the air like this, so always brace your arm. And go back, see if I think my colors are drying with ridges in the paint, I go back and I pull it out to get rid of all those lines, because once it dries, you can't do that. Okay, here we go. All right, it's got a blue now. Maybe I'll do a purple scarf. So again, swish the brush, dry it on the towel, and I'll do a purple scarf. So now when I do the purple scarf, I'll go all the way down over the fringe, and then we could put white over it. On this one, I did 2 different colors on the fringe. Again, start in the middle, not on the edge, because you don't want to get it on your white. Very little paint in the brush goes a long way. Okay, there we go. I turn my piece in all different directions, so I'm always painting into the piece and not onto the white. I'm starting from the fringe and going up instead of going down, because if I go down, I might pull the color into the white area of his belly here. So I'm coming up from the bottom. I think that's safer. And if you go out of the lines, you just let it dry and go back over it again. Now I'm going up from the bottom here, but now when I get to where his face is, I want to come down, because I always want to paint away from the area I don't want to get it on. So I'm going to put it down and pull it down. Let me see a little side area here that I didn't get. And let's see where we are over here. There's a little piece around his neck. Okay, I have a little scarf done. And, oh, there's a little piece in the back. See here and here? Little pieces in the back. Can't forget that. And here you can be sloppy with the color you're putting on the collar. I hate to tell you that, but you can, because this is all going to be black all around it. And eventually you'll have to be very neat with the black. But with the collar, you just put the color right on, and it doesn't have to be neat. Okay, I went out of the lines because my black is going to have to go on there. Okay, I see a little spot of my blue that I missed, and I'm going to go back and touch that up now. See that little spot on his hat? Clean my brush. Always dry your brush before you go into another color. All right, there we go. Now, I guess we can go to do the black right now. I'll work from here. I don't have any more room on my palette, so I'm going to work from the cap of the bottle. Whoop. Okay. So now he has a little peak over here at the top of his face. And you put very, very little paint in the brush because that's such a little tiny area. That little peak up there. And then we'll just use a little bit of paint to edge everything first. This is where you have to be really, really neat. It's hard for me to paint and have you see what I'm doing, so I will turn it around every once in a while so you can see. I put the paint down in the middle, and then I scoop to the edges when there's less in the brush, where the colors butt up against each other. Now, you might be able to get really these close areas with a toothpick. Let me see, I have one here, I believe, somewhere. I had one. I guess not. But you can take a little toothpick. Oh, here we go. I knew I had a toothpick somewhere. And where it comes around his face here really close, you could take the toothpick and use that as if it's the brush. And get into this spot where the The top of the scarf is it's like a little point. Oops. Oh, I got it on his eye anyway. There's a little point areas on either side here. I think that the toothpick works really well. I'll try it on this side where I don't have all the black so you can see. See what I'm saying right here? See it there? Just to get like that little triangle area in there, I did that with the black. And you might be able to do that little peak at the top of his face also with the toothpick. Now I'm going to go back to the brush and try to be as neat as possible. And now where I did it with the toothpick, I'm going to try to be as neat as possible. So I lay my brush down and scoop it across that edge. Flatten your brush out and try to get as straight a line as you can. You might be able to even edge it with the toothpick. That may work for you. You can try that. And you may want to use it up at this top area here too, I see, where it's really close. I'll go back with the toothpick where the hat meets his face here and around his rounded area of his face. Okay, see, I just used that up in there. And I think that worked really well. So whatever helps you. The black is hard. It's harder than the other colors to do. So just take your time. There's no rush doing this. You want to stop for a while and then go back to it, you can. You can pause this video, come back to it at another time. Just have patience and take your time. The brush is working very well in the back here because you can flatten it and get a nice line. But in all these little corners, I think the toothpick will work great. Okay, just remember, try not to put your fingers in it. That's what I do all the time because I'm doing these videos and I don't have the time to let it dry. You have the time to let it dry, so don't rush it. Okay, so I was able to get that whole back there. Now I'll come back to this side of his face. And I have his whole head pretty much done. Okay, cute little guy. And don't do his eyes now because they'll stay wet a little bit longer, so you want to let them dry, let everything else dry before you go back and do the eyes. So now I'm going to work my way down his wings. These are a little easier to do. But then we're going to be getting up against the white again. I'm going to have to be careful. Now you can put a little bit of white under his wings. I didn't do that on these. On these I did. So if you want to do that, if you did it in black, that's fine, and then let it dry and go back and just pounce with the white, pounce some white on it. I'll see if I can do it with this one so that you get the idea of how to do that. Pouncing makes the color accumulate a little bit faster, especially white over black. I'll go back and I'll do that after I get the black all done. Such a cute little penguin. And then you could do designs, whatever you want. You could do the designs with the toothpick. You could do designs with the back end of a brush. All of these dots on the scarf are done with the back end of a brush. Same thing here. Just whatever colors you want to use, you can use. And then we do the glitter. And I know all of you love glitter. And the glitter, I wrote on the top of the jar the glitter so you can tell the difference between the glitter and the white. The glitter looks white, but when you paint it on and it dries, it sparkles. So it's a paint-on glitter, and it's in a glue or a sealer, but it looks like the white, so don't mix up the two. And you could put that wherever you want. I just put it on the scarf and on the trim of the hat, but you can put it wherever. The way to get a nice line is to lay your brush down and just flatten it, and just watch what you're doing. Don't watch watch what the hairs of the brush are doing, how it's scooping down and around. See that? Back and do the wing, this wing. No two pieces are ever done exactly alike. It's, even though I did pieces a while ago like these two, I'll go to do another one now and it'll never look exactly like those. Even if I used all the same colors, things don't ever come out exactly the same. It's art. There's no perfection. It's how you want it to look. I pretty much did all my edging. Now I'm just doing fill-ins. Yep, he's getting there. See the back now? Now this is the easy part because I don't have to do edging anymore. Just pull it right down. I have little edging around the feet. Okay, I'm almost done. But don't rush it. You don't have to keep up with me. Don't rush it. Take your time. Let it dry. Make sure your colors are nice and smooth. Pull them out, pull them out, pull them out. To do the edging, I put a little more paint in my brush so that when I put my brush down and I try to do like that edge line, it just flows nicely. But you have to be careful with that. Okay, I pretty much have all that done. I'm not going to do the bottom so that I could stand it on the table. I'll get the black all over everything. What I am going to do though is I'm going to go back and touch up my purple on my scarf because I see white spots. So swish the brush in the water. I do it twice to get that black out of my brush because black really overpowers everything. And you see what I meant about the water and everything? The black really, once it gets into your brush and onto the piece, it can make a mess. So be careful with the black. Okay, I just touched that up. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to do, I'll do his eyes. I'm going to do his eyes last. I want to see where I can hold him now. I'm going to put my fingers in the bottom to hold him. I just got black on his face. So you see what I just did? All right. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to put white over it. I probably need a couple of coats of the white to cover up that black now. That's why I say to you, be very careful and don't rush it. I'm going to take a little bit of white in my brush, and I'm going to dry brush it across the fringe of the scarf. Let's see how I can hold this. Okay, so here's the fringe. I'm going to lay my brush down and just go across it like this. So I'm not doing it solidly. I'm laying the brush down and going across. Do the underneath part also. There's white under there anyway, so it won't hurt if you get it on there. Okay, so what I did with the little scarf. Nothing in the brush, hardly anything in the brush, and you just lay your brush flat and come across, like so. All right, now on this one, I think I'm going to try big purple dots on his hat. So with the handle of the brush, you do circles, little circles. I'm trying to see how I can hold him so I don't get the black on me. so you could see it, all right? And put them far apart from each other. Don't put them too close together when you do dots. Every dot I do, I dip. Otherwise the dots will be too small if I go 1, 2, 3 in a row. Okay, so I did dots on his hat. Now I'm going to take the other brush, because it has a little, believe it or not, the bigger brush has a smaller point. So I'm going to be doing some white dots and purple dots on there. I'll do white. The little white dots I put on the scarf. I'm making them smaller dots. Okay. And it doesn't have to be all white. Like on this one I have white and purple dots. Again, the dots stay wet for a long time because they're going on heavier with the back end of the brush. Just watch you don't dip your arm into them. Okay, and then on the eyes, I'm going to dip the back end of the brush. Try not to lean on the dots I just did all over the place. And circle the eyes. Okay, put 2 big dots on the eyes, and they're going to take a while to dry because it's going on pretty heavy. My dots aren't that round because I'm not doing this looking at it, but there you go. You also can take your toothpick and you could do little lines in the beak. I have it on here. Oh, did it on one, not the other. See the 2 little lines in the beak right there? You could take your toothpick and do that. It's another way you could use the toothpick. And just do a little line there and a little line there. All right, see how I put the lines on there? And I'm going to go back and see if I can touch up my white again. Takes quite a few coats to do touch up. The black is very overpowering. So I did it again. I'll probably have to do it again. All right, and then you can go back with the black and, you know, fix up and touch up, and a lot of back and forth. I see a whole spot here that I missed on the black. Okay, and don't forget to do the back of the scarf, which I just did. I forgot the back of the scarf. Okay, I just put little white dots on the back. Okay, so now you have to really, really let him dry before you do the glitter. And the glitter is a paint-on glitter. It's it looks white, but it goes on clear. And you just take your small brush. I'm only going to do it right now on the trim of the hat because that's the only area that's really dry. And also under the wings, I told you I would show you. Oh, before we do that, let me show you how to do under the wings. If you want to, just, if you did black, just tap some white underneath there. Because they're kind of like skin, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, you see me doing that under there? I'll do one wing so you can see it. Very important to let all those dots dry before you start handling it again, though. Or you really have a mess. Take your time. There's no rush. Nobody's rushing you to do this. Okay, there's one wing. It kind of looks cute with the white under the wing. I'll do the other one too. And just tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap with the side of the brush. Okay, so I have the white underneath, and you could do it a second time to make it even a little bit whiter. And now I'll go back and I'll do the glitter. Wash my brush. And you just take the glitter, and it's just white. You just paint it on. And it may not look like it's anything, but just do a thin coat, let it dry, and then you can go back and do a second coat. And it will shine for you. It'll shine because it's in a sealer, and it will also give you a lot of sparkles. But do one thin coat at a time. Don't try to glob that on either. And do it on the trim of the hat and on the pom-pom. And when the scarf is dry, you can do it on the scarf. I can't do that right now. So it's hard to see in the video. I think you can see this one a little bit more. I don't know if you can see it, but I have it on the pom-poms and on the trim of his hat, and I also have it on his scarf. So you can put the glitter wherever you want, your piece, and you do whatever you want with it, and he looks cute in all the different colors. Here he is in the blue. Okay, the blue hat and the purple scarf. So whatever colors you want to do is up to you. A little winter penguin, and he can stay out for quite a few months because winter is just coming. So enjoy him, and if you have any questions, you can contact me here on YouTube. And I'm also on Facebook under Rosemary Ceramics, so you can take a look there and see a bunch of other pieces that I have and all the videos that I have up on YouTube. So thank you so much for taking this class, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a very healthy and happy and safe holiday. And Happy New Year to everyone, and thank you again.